Absolute madness, mayhem, incredible, and a game that just suddenly exploded towards the end of a chase. We thought for all money the Chennai Super Kings were going to win this, especially after they had Shubman Gill first ball, Vijay Shankar second ball, 16 for 3 at one stage, 48 for 4 at another. You thought David Miller is playing this single-handed cameo and he's going to end up on the losing side. Nope, Rashid Khan had other plans, and David Miller, one of the underachievers of the IPL, has shown that he still has it in him. He has taken the Titans home in what looked like the most unlikeliest of victories at the MCA Stadium in Pune, to leave the Super Kings shell-shocked. We'll look back at it all with Ian Bishop and Wasim Jaffer on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by IQ 9 5G. We didn't know what to make of it. You thought the Titans would chase it, but surely, Wasim, you must admit to me that about 5-6 overs into the innings, you said, nah, they're not going to chase it.
Yeah, it looked very difficult, Raunak, but I think David Miller had different plans. I think he repaid the faith. I think he had very, a few seasons, really very quiet few seasons, but he came to the party. And with Hardik Pandya, Gujarat Titan did look, batting light, but the way David Miller batted, I mean, outstanding. And that 18th over from Jordan, that 25-run over, completely changed the momentum. I think that catch which Dubey didn't go for Miller's catch, I think that was also a crucial moment. But outstanding knock. I think he was the only difference between win and a loss.
Okay, I'm going to come to that 18th over in a second. Let me go to the astute Ian Bishop. There's a reason why he's got this sort of reverence in the game. Because in spite of me asking multiple times, Bish, what do you think is going to happen? He says, don't ask me. I don't know. Because it was that sort of mental game, wasn't it, Bish?
Yeah, it was. I think CSK got as good a power play as they could have hoped for. Tikshana bowling well, Shubman Gill falling early in the piece. And look, the little things again in the game. First of all, let me say well played, David Miller. That was extremely well played. But the Dubey missed opportunity for me. You have a tall guy, you sit him on the boundary line simply because of that added physical attribute to be able to take catches on the boundary. He had to run in for it, but to evade that for whatever reason it was, I think those little things are very critical and they make fine lines. And I think I mentioned before the inning started that Chris Jordan, as one, had to be better. Chris has too much experience not to be hitting his mark, not only this game, but the previous game as well, and being as ineffective. He'll be very disappointed in the way he went.
Okay, let's extend on that point, because we will come to Miller and he deserves full credit because he kept them in the game. Otherwise, that Rashid Khan cameo wouldn't have been enough. We'll come to that in a second, but we have to go to the 18th over, Bish. Jordan, with all his experience, what's he trying to do to Rashid Khan and why has he failed? What could he have done better?
Well, he's not hitting his Yorkers. CJ is someone who, at his best, would have been nailing Yorkers, and he's had a few slip-ups now over the last few years. You go back to the T20 World Cup, and that important over, I think it was against New Zealand. So for someone who has been around, I think he will reflect that maybe too often he's not hitting those wide Yorkers or those straight Yorkers. I mean, the plan was there. The plan was set to bowl to a particular side of the field, but he kept missing his mark by a long way. It's as simple as that.
How much credit to Rashid Khan for that sort of incredible cameo? It looked like he was struggling, Wasim, and then suddenly he's played that in that over.
I think David Miller needed somebody to play a little bit of cameo. He can't do it alone himself. So that over, that 18th over, and Bish is absolutely right. You can't keep missing your length, and you can't keep missing your Yorkers like that. And somebody as experienced as CJ, that was not on. And probably in that 20th over as well, Raunak, I felt that once you bowled that leg side Yorker to Miller and he missed that, it pretty much Miller knew that everything was coming this way. He didn't bluff any ball outside off stump or maybe a slow ball. It was pretty much same line, same speed, no slow ball.
Waist high full toss.
He did. I mean, he wanted to bowl a Yorker, which was again on that leg stump line. So everything was, one-dimensional, and that was very surprising. I mean, somebody who's batting on 80 plus, and you know what's going to come. He's not going to miss too many balls.
Was he the right call for the 20th over, or was he the only choice with Mukesh Chaudhary or a spinner at Jadeja's disposal?
Well, I think he was the only choice. I don't think anybody else bowling that over. Mukesh Chaudhary is again somebody who's inexperienced. You don't want to go to him. I think not bowling Moeen Ali when Tewatia and David Miller were batting. He got hit only for a six, and then you take him off. You needed to bowl him there. I think that was your best chance. Then you would have probably got Bravos over or somebody else. But if you don't bowl, Ravindra Jadeja doesn't bowl 4 overs. If Moeen Ali doesn't even bowl when two left-handers are batting, then when are your spinners are going to bowl? So it leaves a bit too much. And this wicket was difficult for the bowlers.
Yeah.
With the dew on, the slow ball was not going to hold up on the pitch. So it was pretty hard. And 170 itself, I feel, was 15, 20 run short anyway.
Bish, same question to you with a different point as well on whether CSK put themselves in a position where they had no option but for Jordan in 18 and 20. Surely you have to think if Jordan gets a 20-run over, that's him bowling an over back-to-back under pressure. Did Ravindra Jadeja miss his calculations a bit?
I don't know. David Miller was striking the ball so very well. Once the spinners got close to him, because we didn't see a great deal of spin, he was able to hit the ball down the ground or just over wide long on for six, right? So I don't blame CSK for backing Chris Jordan because that's why Chris Jordan was hired. That's why he was brought into the franchise to get those difficult death overs. I mean, Bravo bowled very, very well. That over that went for 20 two Yorkers, two balls in the right areas, and the outcome could have been different. So I understand it's a high stakes game, and the pressure certainly got to CJ tonight. But I wouldn't fault what went on. I just think the critical thing, RK, was the execution. The execution was very, very faulty.
Do you think there's a bit of a dichotomy with Chris Jordan, Wasim? There would be enough fans who've seen him in the IPL and even in international cricket who know rather, that this guy can go for runs at the end. And yet you play him in your team because he's supposed to do this job. I mean, is it a mistake that teams keep repeating, even though CSK may have won a game and lost a few? Jordan was always going to cost them a game like this. Is that a fair statement?
I think so. I think when his Yorker doesn't come off, then Chris Jordan doesn't have too many deliveries to go back to. Somebody like Bravo, he's got too many armories. He can go round the stump, he can go wide, he can bluff you, he can bowl that short ball, slow bouncer. I don't think Jordan has that. So if he's not nailing his Yorkers, then it becomes far difficult for him to contain runs.
All right. Let's move to the batting side now and give full credit, because if any of those boundaries don't land up where they're supposed to, then Jordan gets away with it, right? And maybe we're having a different kind of conversation. Again, I'll just hold on to Miller because the Rashid Khan over just changed momentum. We've seen him play these shots, not as much in the IPL. Rashid Khan, the batter in the IPL, we've not seen much of Wasim. And today, as captain, he got the opportunity, made it count.
Well, I think the captainship had an effect. That Afghan Jalebi come with, he's playing for Gujarat, so Fafda Jalebi makes a good combination. But I think he played, the right innings needed at that stage. He definitely has the ability. Sometimes, obviously, he comes very late in the innings to bat, but he's shown in Big Bash and the other leagues that he can bat, he can strike. He hits the ball to the unusual areas.
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes even Gujarat Titans can use him at some stage sending up the order, but played perfect foil.
That second shot, I think Bishop was the little flat sliced six over point. Gee, I mean, sure you can practice it, but that surely must have had you also go, wow.
No, definitely a wow shot. He had a little helicopter flick initially, and then somebody was saying wide York. I think it was Simon Dole said you've got to go full and wide, and he went full and wide, but he missed his length again by enough to allow Rashid to play that shot, which is a very difficult shot. I want to compliment Rashid to an extent. Tiwatia, although I'm looking at Tiwatia's end result, 6 off 14, doesn't really do it in T20 cricket for me. I'm not one of those guys, but there was a sense early on with the Tiwatia Miller thing and the Rashid Miller partnership that both those guys just looked content to just knock it and give Miller the strike. So it looked as though they had planned and they were confident that once they feed David Miller enough of a strike, that he would take responsibility and get them close. And then, as Rashid showed, he could tee off after a while. So I want to give them some real praise for planning that, but still, you know where I stand. The execution there, I
Yeah.
don't think anybody can argue was off.
Yeah, I mean, Rashid Khan, 40 of 21, even for him for a large part of that innings initially was going at a run of ball or even less. Then he took off in that over of Jordan and carried it on a bit in the over against Bravo. Tewate perhaps 6 of 14, 12 balls too many to have an impact. We've seen him have it in much lesser this season. But now let's go to David Miller. And even the more optimistic or genuine David Miller fans would be saying, we've not seen this guy play this sort of innings in the IPL for a long, long time. The odd one he does play for South Africa, but player of this ability is, fair to say, Bish, disappointed significantly. And this is perhaps, a freak innings, an innings that we did not expect from David Miller.
I wouldn't say not expect. I mean, recent form, recent seasons, he hasn't lived up to his ability. But there are times, I think it's more one-day international cricket, I think, for South
Yes.
Africa and some
Yes.
of T20 cricket. He's been really good, really, really good. It's just in the IPL, it's been indifferent. He said something in an interview. I was trying to remember where I read it. They asked
Must
him
be
about his
surely
role as
cricket
a
form.
finisher.
Yeah. 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 Carry on. But
It
sorry.
was, it actually, it was,
Yeah.
actually. You're absolutely right. Anyway, let's leave that. I'll go research it after. He said he would love the opportunity to bat at the top of the innings. He would love to try that one day. Well, he wasn't batting at the top of the innings, but he came in early enough tonight where he could set himself and then go. And we saw it with a couple of guys. We saw it with Dinesh Karthik yesterday, where he got himself in. We saw it with Shimron Hetmeyer at the Wankhede as well when they were in trouble and he came in. So we're seeing some good high quality finishing. And this innings from Miller was another one in this 2022 Tata IPL to put in that stack. It was beautifully timed and weighted.
Yep. The interview was on the 10th of Feb 2021. It's on ESPN Cricinfo if anyone wants to watch it. Yeah, where he speaks to Firdaus Nunda and says, as a senior player, I want to stand up in different areas, and one of those points was to bat higher up the order. So well done, Ian Bishop. But to be fair, that is perhaps the best that we've seen David Miller bat in the IPL, given the situation, given what he's had to do. Wasim, fair to say that's the best you've seen him bat?
Yeah, I think so. I think the inning since 2014 where he got the 100 against RCB, we haven't seen any of that like that. I think when he was at Kings 11 or Punjab Kings for that matter, I think when he was released after that, the doubts crept into his game about playing spin bowling. And he was, out of favor for the franchise that he went to Rajasthan Royals. They didn't give him game time. But I think here he's getting that opportunity. Yeah. And today, Hardik Pandya not being playing, and they were 3 down pretty quickly. He got that opportunity which he was asking for, and a perfect timing. I felt, this was the opportunity. And sometimes when you score these kind of inning, that confidence comes back, and he's got that power. He's got that power. He's got that technique, I feel, to bat even top of the order and take the game deep. Outstanding knock.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible from David Miller. And, well, you get that sort of innings, as Wasim Jaffer, you get a feeling. When you have these sorts of wins, Ian Bishop, is there a feeling that comes as well? I've almost seen Chennai Super Kings do this in some years where you think, no, this game is not going to be won by them. And something happens and they end up on the winning side. Are we getting that feeling for the Titans?
You have to feel really good for them. They have to be feeling really good about themselves, because we have a saying in sport, and it's just sport across the board, not necessarily related to cricket, that next man up. So without Hardik Pandya, I confess I didn't know where this batting lineup was going to go. Shubman Gill came and went, and for Miller to stand up at a critical time shows leadership. It shows responsibility and maturity from him. And if Gujarat can keep that ticking over, when someone goes, Alzari Joseph bowled for example, he took a couple of critical wickets tonight.
Yes.
So next man up, coming in and doing the job, that is what you want from a team if they are to win a tournament. It can't be sole dependence on 1 or 2 people.
It'll be very interesting to see how they change things up once Hardik Pandya is back. But it looks like they have to look at that number 3 position too with Vijay Shankar. It's been a poor game for him again. More on that perhaps when we come closer to the next Gujarat Titans game. But let me ask Wasim that too. Do you think this could be the Titans season? They've just managed to, I think, exceed a significant number of expectations, Wasim, in the early parts.
Yeah, they've at least won 3 games which they should have lost. They've been very lucky. And I hope it may continue. But like Bish said, when Hardik Pandya is not there, they look very vulnerable. That batting lineup looks very vulnerable, even chasing 170. Vijay Shankar again, looks out of sorts. So maybe Sai Sudarshan, they can look back again. They've got Gurkeerat Maan. They definitely need to look at these two players. And Hardik Pandya is a critical player on the both fronts, on the bowling and batting. So they need him fit and they need him to be playing full tournament.
Hardik Pandya just come in for Vijay Shankar, maybe? Yeah, and somebody else bats at 3?
I think so. Why not? Even Rahmanullah Gurbaz, if they can accommodate him, I think he is an exciting player, somebody who's a wicket keeper. I don't know Riddhiman Saha, how good he goes on. He need to play at least 2 or 3 games. You can't drop him after one game. But Gurbaz is a good player. He's somebody who scores very consistently in other leagues. They need to look at him at some stage.
All right, Bish, I got a quick little endorsement from you. If they want to keep playing Alzari Joseph, I guess is the other thing. They have to balance the overseas guys out. So maybe Hardik just comes in for Vijay Shankar and you don't mind batting maybe Miller at 3, maybe Abhinav Manohar at 3, maybe Rashid Khan at 3?
I wouldn't mind that. Rashid Khan, come on, stop it. You threw me off there. I wouldn't, because look, all the years that I've been working on the IPL and watching Indian cricket, I know that somewhere along the line, Vijay Shankar has had a good series. It's never been a good match when I've been watching him. So I don't know what is his strength. Is it orthodoxy and anchoring? Is it as a power hitter? So if he's not giving you that value, I think Alzari Joseph as the extra fast bowling option gives you a little bit of an edge. If Hardik comes back, it would lighten Hardik's workload if he doesn't have to continuously bowl as effectively if his body is frail. So I think that's a balance we can look at quite closely if and when Hardik comes back.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's a good problem to have at the moment because in spite of losing their most important player, the Gujarat Titans have reclaimed top spot, or they've at least consolidated that top position on the points table. They're the first team to 10 points, to double digits. So well done to Hardik Pandya and the Gujarat Titans. Rashid Khan leading today in his absence, and they've picked up their 5th win of the season. CSK, you have to think now, enjoy a similar sort of, or not enjoy, but have to face a similar sort of fate as the Mumbai Indians, where they are virtually going to find it extremely hard to make the playoffs. They need a lot going for them. I'm not sure mathematically they're still out, but in a 10-team IPL, it looks particularly hard. It's time also now for the Maruti Suzuki Driving School poll of the day. So let's go straight there. The question that we asked, which among these bowlers will concede the most runs in the Punjab-Hyderabad match? And we had Natarajan as an option, we had Rahul Chahar, we had Umran Malik, and Kagiso Rabada wasn't as high scoring a game as this one that we did see, only 151 that the Punjab Kings managed. But at the end of it all, those a few that did go for, who was the high scorer? I can't remember. But anyway, 46% of you went for Umran Malik. That was incorrect. And Rahul Chahar, good chance, was conceding quite a few. Anyway, we'll leave it there. The Maruti Suzuki Driving School poll of the day will be back. That poll threw me off guard, like how I threw Ian Bishop off guard. But we leave it there. Thank you very much to Bish. Good night to you, Bish. We'll have you soon, very shortly. And we'll have Wasim Jaffer next week too. This was an incredible day for the Gujarat Titans. They've claimed top spot. And we'll join you tomorrow now for KKR Rajasthan. That promises to be a good one too at the CCI. Join us just after the toss. We'll see you then on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by IQ 95G.